Good afternoon and welcome back to Pimlico Racecourse. It's opening day, and we're not going to let a little bad weather rain on our parade, Keith.
Did we bring the Louisville weather
Yes.
with us back home? I mean,
all that matters is that we get through it this week and hopefully a good forecast
that
for next
would be
weekend.
Good. I know our temperatures are heading in the northern direction, so that I'm looking forward to next week. But yeah, we're gonna have to battle with a little bit of rain, a little precip over the next couple of days. It looks like
it does look like that, and of course we are off the turf and on the main track today. Conditions are sloppy and sealed. We've got 9 races on tap to kick off the Preakness meet here at Pimlico. Keith, we got a lot to get to.
Yes.
Limited amount of time to get to it. So we'll start things off. Of course, this morning we started things off with Always Dreaming hitting the track and galloping for the first day since his Kentucky Derby victory. This is what Todd Pletcher had to say.
He's continuing to improve, actually, and I thought the first 2 races were so easy for him that don't think we really took much out of him. The Florida Derby seemed to bring him forward another notch, and I think the Derby was even a stronger performance than that. So I think just by his physical makeup that he's a horse that hopefully can continue to even get better than he already is.
Yeah, I mean, you talked.
And that was Todd Pletcher on Always Dreaming. Of course, Always Dreaming did go out this morning at 6 a.m. And, it was nice weather then. It was a little bit on the chillier side. But, of course, the week leading into the Kentucky Derby, they made the equipment change to give him the draw reins, and did switch riders to Nick Bush. And it looks like he was behaving himself very, very well. And Keith, the one thing that Todd said is what he wanted was a quiet track. There were 2 horses on the track at this time.
Yeah. I mean, he made the right decision to get up here a little bit early, get this horse settled, acclimated to Pimlico, all the surroundings. And you want peace and tranquility? For the most part, you're going to get it here every morning at Pimlico.
That's exactly right, and he got just that. He came back. He looked like it looked like he didn't even run in the Kentucky Derby because he just has thrived since winning the Kentucky Derby. So we'll see how everything goes in the lead up to the Preakness, but looks like all is good. He'll be continuing to train around the same hour at 6 a.m. Throughout the week. So looking forward to that. But talking about Black-Eyed Susan contenders, perhaps we'll see Shimmering Aspen. Boy, was she an impressive winner at Laurel a couple weeks ago for trainer Rodney Jenkins. And she actually worked out this morning. She did put a breeze in. Here's what Rodney had to say about Shimmering Aspen this morning here at Pimlico.
Well, it was actually a great work. She didn't break the wad. She went in 1:15 for 6 furlongs. She galloped out, though, in 27, so she galloped out in 12. She went the mile in 1:43. So I was real happy, that she had never been out of Laurel. So what we did today is try to get her used to everything without ringing her bell. And she handled everything so far wonderful. I was real pleased.
She looks like she has a huge stride and a real classy filly. You've been high on this filly for a while?
Yes. Actually, we lost the first time we ran her, and that kind of floored me a little bit. But then she come back at the next 3 starts and win by daylight all 3. And we like her. We hope she's as good as we think she is.
Are you guys considering the Black-Eyed Susan with her?
Yes, we are. We're going to kind of go over between Mrs. Charles and me, and we'll decide next day or so.
Ellen Charles, you've had some nice horses over the year. This one looks pretty special.
She is special, and I love my filly, so this is really exciting.
You seem pretty confident, and even though you've had some nice ones in the past, it doesn't. I mean, getting a nice one like this has got to be pretty awesome.
I never think you go ho-hum. No, she's wonderful, and she's gray, too, and I love the gray, so she's got it all. So let's see what happens next Friday.
That was Rodney Jenkins in the background calling everybody with the good news. A good workout there, going 6 furlongs in 1:15 and change. And she does. She looks like she's got a nice, easy, loping stride. And, of course, The question is, can she stretch out from 7 furlongs where she got her victory last time out to a mile and an eighth? They're weighing their options. She is nominated to the Black-Eyed Susan, of course, a mile and an eighth, or the Miss Preakness, which would be cutting back in distance at 3/4.
Right. It's going to be a tough decision. I guess they'll monitor all the entries, what's coming in, what they think's coming in, what's not coming in. Hey, you saw it right there. She covers the ground. She covers a lot of ground and does it effortlessly. But stretching out, would that be a little bit too much too soon? We don't know. Certainly has a ton of talent, though.
It's a tough decision to make. I wouldn't want to be in that position at all. But she definitely is a very talented filly. Now, we'll get into the action here at Pimlico. Of course, we start things off today, May 11th. Our Preakness meet at Pimlico continues on to May 29th, of course, headlined by the Preakness. So live racing Thursday through Sunday. Come out and join us as we move along. Mother's Day is very quickly approaching us, so come out on Mother's Day, make it a winning Mother's Day, and treat Mom to a Baltimore tradition Mother's Day brunch buffet at Old Hilltop. We've got tapas samplers, omelet station, our famous crab cakes, and much more. So go online to book your reservation, $40 per person for that. Black-Eyed Susan Day, of course, is approaching next Friday. A lot of festivities for the Ultimate Girls Day out Friday, May 19th. Tickets are now on sale, and tickets are now on sale for the Preakness Stakes. They've been on sale, so make sure you go to Preakness.com and purchase your tickets or call that number on your screen today. You don't want to miss out. It looks like a very nice day weather-wise on tap. Now, talking about the Infield Fest, we've got Sam Hunt and special guest Zed on the main stage. On the DeKuyper stage, we've got Good Charlotte, the boys from Southern Maryland, Low Cash, and High Valley. So a good lineup for this year's Infield Fest. And I love coming to Pimlico, Keith. There's just a certain energy, right? So even though it's raining outside.
Even though it's raining, it's nice for a little change. Things can sometimes just get a little stagnant. I like the little mix up here, the stop over to Pimlico. It's one of my favorite tracks of all time. I kind of, cut my teeth handicapping these races back when I was like 12, 13 years old. So, yeah, this is a place I know. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get to our featured wagers today, and we start things off in today's opener with that super high 5 that carries on throughout the day before we get to that, we're going to get to our leading trainers and jockeys at Laurel Park. Of course, today is opening day at Pimlico, but most recently we closed out the meet at Laurel Park. Linda Rice with a phenomenal meet. Yeah. She was winning at over 50%, 53% to be specific, and she tied for leading trainer with 27 wins with Kieran McGee.
Just an unbelievable feat to do it. I know she had some horses ship in late and start stabling at Laurel, but what an accomplishment if 53% clip. Claudia was out there early, a little fade late. He's got to pick up the pace, and Kieran battled back late to get into the tie. So it's some very familiar faces, and Linda Rice looks like she's going to be on the scene for a while.
Yes, for sure. And Linda Rice may be having or potentially going to have a very strong Pimlico meet. Kieran McGee, this is his meet every year. So I'm sure he has a very strong contingent for this year's Preakness meet as well. We'll take a look at the leading jockeys here, and Trevor McCarthy really just had a phenomenal meet as well. 67 victories, well past Horacio Caramanos, who had 56 victories. And Horacio Caramanos, of course, many of those for Linda Rice.
Yeah, he did. He enjoyed it. I mean, it was like Cadillacs all over for Horacio. He picked up a lot of good mounts with a lot of talent. But Trevor, day in and day out, he's tough.
Yeah,
he's tough.
Absolutely is. And, of course, Trevor always having a very strong Pimlico meet as well. So now we will get to our featured wagers of the afternoon. On this 9-race program, we start things off in the opener with that rolling super high 5 that takes place in races of 7 or more betting interest. So looking forward to that. We also have the Rainbow 6. That does kick off in the 4th race, and the Late Pick 5 starts in the 5th. We'll take a look at our track and weather conditions. It's a little bit on the chillier side, of course. You saying main track, sloppy, sealed. It looks the case.
Yeah, sloppy and sealed, but take a look to the right a little bit.
It's green.
Can't wait to get on that turf course, man. That thing looks like some of the local golf courses right now.
That's pristine.
That is awfully plush. Yeah, don't cut this turf course short either.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's beautiful. Recently renovated. What last year, 2 years ago?
I think it was last year, heading into last year. Maybe they did a couple little phases, but looks great right now.
It does that. So sloppy sealed are the track conditions, starting things off with a 110 first post. And we started off with the 2-year-olds. Keith, we're just going to dive right in. The early pick 5 does start in race 1, that super high 5 wagering as well. 4.5 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 1A deep bred in here, but the field stays pretty well intact. How did you see the opener?
I'm going to go with a reliable Jason McCutcheon with the 2-year-olds. We've seen his record of recent note, batting a really good percentage. He's had some runners. He and his father down at Keeneland run well right out of the box. Had Shape of You, the favorite, the other week run second. But you talked about it, this horse has been all over the place.
Yeah.
Had to deal with a lot of shipping. But Unkiss Me, going to be my top selection, number 5 by Regal Ransom. These horses are doing well, 18% the last 5 years with 2-year-olds, and done well sprinting. Some good works down at the training center. Lone Sib was a winner at 2.
I saw the same in the mare. She was very versatile. She
Yeah.
won on the dirt. She won on the slop, turf. She was a 5-time winner. So I think that bodes well for Unkiss Me. But beyond her, maybe looking to the filly just to her outside, the 6, She Runs Hot. Now, kind of was a subpar performance in her first in her first going, but she drew the rail. I thought it was kind of harder to overcome, and we'll show you a stat for John Salzman Jr. 2-year-olds making their second start on the dirt, of course, maidens, 24%, a positive ROI, $2.09, and 60% in the money. A better post, and I like that stat.
Yep, agreed. Gets away from the rail. The blinkers go on. Didn't flash a ton of speed, but I expect more foot from the outside today.
All right, and the 7, Francesca Spell, a first-time starter for Michael Catalano. Not a lot of pedigree to work off of, at least on the bottom side. She is by Haynesfield on the bottom side, unraced mare, and no racing foals. Other than that, Keith, you kind of gave some interest to the 3 Sammy B.
I did another one. Give the edge to experience. The quick drop down to from the maiden special weight to the maiden claiming, but did show a little speed, showed a little gas last time, and I think will improve. Just the help with the race under her belt.
All right, we start the day off with those 2-year-old fillies. Looking forward to that as we turn the page to the second race of $5,000 conditional claimer, 6 furlongs on the main track in here as well. And it does look like the 7, Macroeconomics, should be the horse to beat coming out of open company and dropping to that $5,000 tag today.
Yeah, it looks like all she's got to do is hold form. But Claudio, interesting stat. Over the last 3 years of Pimlico in dirt sprints, he's only 5 for 43. You expected a lot. The barn, I don't think they got what they expected here. I thought they thought this was a filly they were going to be able to move up. It hasn't really panned out. Yeah, sure, she's going to be the horse to beat. She's going to be an awfully short price, probably maybe a little bit lower than an 8-5 that I have. Zipline, don't know what to do with her a little bit. I'm going to use her in the mix. A big, maybe an inflated number of pen, but where's she been and where did that race come from? I think Came Up Rosie and Northern Prancer, both on their home tracks here, stable at Pimlico. Came Up Rosie has a little bit more of a tactical speed advantage over Northern Prancer. I think Northern Prancer might have been a little too close to the pace last time, which hurt her run. One of these two to maybe pull a mild upset.
I saw it the same way. I don't quite trust macroeconomics, and I like the race that both of those fillies or mares are coming out of, Northern Prancer and Came Up Rosie. What if I was willing, came back to get a 59 by her speed figure, winning, I think, non-winners of a race in a year, some sort of condition in the next race. And Zipline, I think, she'll probably serve more as a target for others to maybe sit that tactical trip. Whoever's stalking or closing from off of it, I think it might set up for them. But we kind of saw the second eye to eye as we get to the third race, a maiden $16,000 event, originally carded for the turf for a mile and a 16th. Will run on the main track at a mile and a 16th. So you got to go back to the drawing board here. I actually stayed on my same top selection. Right. I'm going to stick with the 7, Chamberlain Road for Mark Salvaggio. Decent race against Maiden Special Weight Company, 2 starts back. Now you have to question why the steep drop in class. But I don't know. I think she's, given her last race, I think she can be a little bit forwardly placed. She seems like she could probably be versatile enough to handle herself on the dirt and turf.
Yeah, a little bit of an early move last time. Duel. They weren't really, quick fractions, blazing fractions of a pen. But, she's shown she can handle the sloppy sealed surface as she did last May at Laurel. A little flyer with a little bit better price maybe on the 4-photo gallery. Only tried the dirt twice. I think this horse is going to handle the off-track. Okay, the 2-back try against Double Sharp was good enough. Double Sharp kind of low speed. I think this horse can handle a little bit more ground with a good ROI barn with Tim Woolley.
Now, stretching out in distance from 6 furlongs to a mile and a 16th today, could we see Beautiful Night Sky just maybe wire here? Do you think she's the fastest early?
She certainly looks like it. When looking at it, on all his spirit, I don't think where I thought she might have some speed. She's not as quick. Chamberlain Road, I think, will take a stalking position. Is Rescue Cat, did she stay in? she could be
Yes.
kind of forward early as well off of the sprints. So beautiful night sky, though. She's going to be a pace present throughout. That's another real negative stat for Salvaggio. He's 0 for 25 in Maryland the last 2 years. I didn't believe that.
That's
nine
really-
for 9 for 25 in the
that's very
money, but yeah,
surprising.
it's been a
Well,
while for a win.
We could see this seems like kind of that MO type of move for Mike Trombetta. Send
Yeah.
out Beautiful Night Sky, who's actually run okay on an off track before, and just try to slow the pace down under Alex Cintron and move along from there. So you might have the right two on top. We will take a quick break, step aside. When we come back, we'll dive into that 20-cent Rainbow Six and the late pick 4. Keith has a ticket right after this. Welcome back to Today at the Races. It's opening day here at Pimlico Racecourse. Excited to get to today and excited to get to the 20-cent Rainbow Six. Now, I did reconstruct my ticket with the scratches. Of course, they will be probably coming in throughout the afternoon, but it's actually more affordable, so why
There
not?
you
We're
go.
going with $43.20, and I love off-the-turf races. I know some people shy away from them, but there is value to be had in off-the-turf races as well, because people bet those races for all the wrong reasons. They bet the races off of turf form, not necessarily maybe dirt pedigree. So looking forward to some of the sequence today. Going to be starting it off with 3 horses, 4, 5, 7. I'm actually singling on the 10 Lizzie in the next race. I think she's the class of the field, and that gives me the ability to have some coverage in other races. And the 12 for Linda Rice Schmiss draws in who I think could probably run on dirt or turf. Only has one start on the turf. I have confidence in that horse, so just using 2 horses in the final leg of the sequence. So that's it, $43.20, very affordable. And we'll start it off with the 4th. This is a 1.16 miles on the main track for this 5,000 non-winners of a race since November 11th. Do I have the right 3? What do you think?
Who do you have?
4, 5, 7.
4, 5, 7. Use the 4, use
And
the
you
5.
used the
I've
1.
got the 1, 3. So
Oh,
yeah, I
no.
didn't see that. Well,
All right.
I mean, Indian Red. I'm just wondering again. The pen numbers, you know, is a winner of its last race. That doesn't count against him in the condition of the race. Did you go back 3 back to his try? Yeah, he was kind of against the grain of the track on the 26. I expected a little bit more at Laurel in that try. Looks like Penn has maybe built the confidence up. Vision of Green, inexplicably poor race last time out. It was a little bit of a negative drop going from the 8 down to the 5. I'm going to give the shot. The barn's doing well. Damon's doing really well over the last 60 days, 30 days. I think Vision of Green can set a really good trip from the inside. Was settled back off the pace last time. Maybe a little bit of early positioning behind the speeds of the 3 Last Confession and the 5 Love the Prospect. I think these 2 go out and set an honest pace. Vision of Green just has to revert somewhere close to the 2 back or 3 back race to get it done from just off of it.
I could see it. I mean, the 0 for 6 record on an off track is kind of a negative, but he's run fast enough races on a wet track to win. He just hasn't won in a very long time. But good to see Victor Crosco back in the saddle. He was sidelined with injury, so he's making his first day back in the saddle, so good to see that. But the 4 Indian Red, I do think that he's a little untrustworthy. I just had an opinion about Love to Prospect. Last time out, I thought it was a tough race. That wasn't his preferred distance. Hunger was coming in off of a long layoff, dropping way in class. So I thought that now that he's stretching out to 2 turns, this is going to be a better result. So that's the 4th.
Okay.
We'll get to the 5th. Originally carded for the turf at a mile. It will run on the main track at 1.16 miles. Now, this does kick off that 50-cent late pick 5. And there's a lot of scrambling here because there's a decent amount of scratches. But this is where I thought the 10 Lizzie kind of stood out from the crowd.
Yeah. Likes a wet track, got what she wants. This race comes off the turf. Didn't run all too bad last time. That would have been a while since she's been on the turf. But, looking at compared to the rest of the field, she's kind of almost an omni-fig on the dirt. I mean, she likes a little pace help up in front. She may get it with Race and Shine and Carolina Dreams. I think she's really has found herself falling into a really nice winning spot this afternoon.
I completely agree with you. Now, if you were constructing that pick 6 or late pick 5, would you have confidence in singling her? Would you want to maybe back her up with a horse like Race and Shine, who could get out to the front on her own?
Yeah, maybe Carolina Dreams would be the only other one. Race and Shine, she just hasn't shown she wants to get to distance. She can kind of go out there. She's 0 for 4 on a wet track. Carolina Dreams, I think turning back will be okay, but she still has to step it up, figs-wise to get past E-Lizzie.
All right, we'll get to the 6th race, Keith, and this does kick off that late pick 4. That is a 50-cent base wager. We started it off at 6 furlongs on the main track for this maiden $25,000 event. I used 4 horses in this leg of the pick 6. How did you see the late pick 4?
Yeah, once again, the late pick 4. We've got a $36 ticket. We had to adjust to many curveballs and sliders and knuckleballs coming our way with these races taken off the turf. 3 deep to get it started. The 3 hard win, the 4 rarefied air, who I think will be your favorite, a solid favorite. One of these two, and the 7 awesome standard. 4 deep in race 7. You go back to short list dirt race, pretty solid. Going to be tough if any kind of run back to that. 3 deep in race 8. Looks like the road's got to go through those 3. The 9th, kind of a question. I know Smith turning back in distance and showed much speed going longer. What's she going to do with the 5/8? Gloria Unbound fresh for Hammy. I'll take a shot. $36.
We'll get to it in a second, but I actually love the 7th race, especially now that it's off the turf, because there's some interesting pedigrees that you can kind of dive into and maybe get a little bit of a price. But we'll start things off with the heavy favorite, the 4 rarefied air. And this horse coming out of the Claudio Gonzalez barn is taking a steep drop in class. Last seen on the dirt. Obviously, we'll go back to the last sprint race that this horse was in on the dirt. That was against Maiden Special Weight Company.
Yeah, against Maiden Special Company. It was first time off the claim. Claimed this horse for 25. Back in kind of Claudio was rolling along at Laurel. As we said, he's down to the inside. Rarefied Air was the one horse that day. The rail was... you didn't want to be dead on it most of the time. I know Dancing with Maud, who's going to go ahead and win this race, runs all right. But Rarefied Air takes a good stalking position. Internal fractions, 46-3, and right up close to that. Realistically, comparative internals, seems to be quicker, Gabby, than the rest of this field, and just patiently handled around the turn. And sometimes, when you're sitting there that long, you just don't have that finishing punch that you would like to. Things don't really kind of open up till late, but now he's got to get put to the driver. The other ones have kind of had that little breather, even though they've been dueling. Hasn't taken a ton out of them. Tipu Run looks like a winner, but Dancing with Maud battles back. That's good enough, guys. It just flattens out a little bit late. This class drop is probably going to put this horse really close to the lead, I think, comparing internals to the rest of the field. Hardwin, first time blinkers on the dirt for Stidham. Second off left, we're going turf to dirt. Is the main contender, no doubt. Came out of a really good race back in July 4th with a winner running a 79 against a tough field. Some horses exited that race to run well. The race probably between these two, the 3 or the 4.
We could see. It was a kind of a tough race there, first time out for Hardwin, but does take a pretty significant drop in class. Slim, I would imagine this horse is going to show a lot of gate speed. We always see Jason McCutcheon horses just kind of shoot out of the gate and serve as a target. Therefore, the 7, awesome standard. Do you think this horse is maybe going to take that pressing position to the outside, or do you think Slim is just going to outsprint them all?
No, I mean, awesome standard. Look who he was run against. 3 rules and good speed, 21.45.
3 rules is fast.
Yeah. Flash some speed on the turf off the layoff. I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised me if the 7 gets a jump on Slim.
That's where I was kind of looking. I thought that maybe he'll show some speed from the outside. It doesn't really. I like the class lines that he's coming out of. Obviously, 3 rules. It's really hard to win when you're chasing a horse like that around the track. So did go 4-7 in there. You went 4-3. That does kick off the final pick 4 of the day. Now we'll get to the 7th race. Originally carded for the turf at 1 mile and a 16th. Will run on the main track at 1 mile and a 16th. A nice maiden special weight. We've got scratches in here. The 3, 4, 7 and the 12 broad reach will draw in off the AE. Last time I checked, not sure about the 11 NIMS, but that's the field as it stands right now. And I did do I went back and tried to research some pedigrees in here for the main track. But, Keith, you stick to the 8 short list, who does have experience on the main track and even a wet track.
I do. This horse has run well. All 3 starts. Even that 61 buyer made a nice jump up from the debut 61 to a mid-70 buyer. But hook good horses. Painter's Rags. Horses have come back and run okay. Yeah, they've got this horse to beat. Lepachka just ran a hole in the wind on April the 7th. This horse was down over the inside, kept very willingly. Good effort on the turf. Turf or dirt, this horse was going to be very tough. Gets the dirt today, has that experience, should be able to handle the wet track. Going to be a short price, but I think this is a horse to beat.
And faced 8 others first time out on a wet track going a mile. And I didn't think that was really the easiest task to handle first time out. We often don't see Ann Merriman start her horses at a distance of ground at first asking. So this horse I've been impressed by his gradual improvement. And as you said, Painter's Rags, first time starter for Grand Motion in that race, came back to finish 3rd behind Battalion Runner, a very nice Todd Pletcher horse. So some good running lines there. Obviously, the 10 CM Reap for Christophe Clement. We have not seen a lot of Christophe Clement first-time starters here, especially at the maiden special weight level. But this horse has a very interesting pedigree. He's by Tappet. The mare, she never ran on dirt, but she was multiple stakes placed on the turf, but is kin to a horse by the name of Grace Stark, who absolutely loved the slop. So I'm kind of reaching for that pedigree. Draws a good outside post position. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and looking at that breeding, one thing I noted, both the full sisters, they did great on the turf. They handled the off track, but won early too. I think both won in their second career start. So things kind of stay the way they've been with these with the sisters. The brother's going to be okay early in his career.
Now, the 5 Cleve actually has an interesting pedigree too. This horse started off on the turf at Saratoga Mile in a 16th. Given some time, now coming back off of that layoff, listed as a first-time gelding today, he is by Smart Strike. All of the foals, all of the racing foals have won, and they've all really gotten into 6 figures. I mean, they've all been pretty decent horses. The only negative is that not many liked the slop. However, the mare, she did get into the low 70 buyer speed figures in the slop. So there's a little bit of a hint there. Coming off the layoff, this horse might need one, especially going 2 turns. But I gave the horse a little bit of interest. And the 2, Spite and Duville, has experience. I just wasn't crazy about his last race on the wet fast track.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I expected a little bit more out of that. I think, offering a little bit better punch late is going to be short list. You nailed it right on the head with the breeding on the 10. Cleve, interesting. I'm going to have to go a little bit deeper and check this horse out, no doubt. And you see the barn second start close to 30% with a nice positive ROI.
All right, let's get to the 8th race, the first half of the late daily double on this 9-race program. 6 furlongs on the main track for this starter allowance optional claimer. Scratch the 1 supervisor in here, and we'll start off by going back to High Hope Pimlico of last year.
Yeah.
The 2, Demon Buster, facing 2 other than Allowance Company.
Had to go back in the vault and find a race from Pimlico on opening day.
It's sunny.
Yeah, it's sunny. Maybe we'll get that in a few days. Demon Buster, the outside 7 post, broke a little bit slow that day. Then kind of steadily moved up, showed a good turn of foot. And you're going to see jockey Edgar Prado say, maybe get to the half-mile pole. I'm going to be hung about 5 deep here. I'm going to ease back and rate back off of the speeds and drop in a little bit. This horse today, I expect a little bit more speed. I think he's going to send from the inside to hold a little bit better position with the likes of Hickory Hill and Grecian Prince with some good speed. Shifts back out. Head of the stretch, and Demon Buster comes on again, closes up 3.5 lengths to the final furlong. A really good churning run, an encouraging effort for Demon Buster under the steady left-handed encouragement from Prado. Just misses. Needed him that day. I remember this race. This was a tough beat, Gabby. Just couldn't get up at the wire. You just think he just doesn't have enough speed and punch to stay close enough today? Okay.
No, well, in that race, he made so many different moves.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very difficult. But he is one. There were a cluster of horses in front of him in that particular race. So you almost wonder if it's kind of set up for him to take back and then make that one move into the pace. I just haven't seen that real potent punch as of late. But he's bred to love this track, although he's 0 for 2 on it so far.
Yeah, he's 0 for 2, and he's bred to love an off track. You say it. But he kept really good coming lines, and that's why he was favored last time out on this drop to this 16.
I can't knock him because Hickory Hill can sometimes be a little bit of a money burner. I mean, this horse can win really impressively and then put in some subpar performance. They were not subpar, but just beaten favorite. But I thought an okay race last time out. I just thought that he could probably stalk the pace of Grecian Prince just towards his inside. But I don't necessarily like Grecian Prince because I don't think that he can sustain his speed all the time. So I thought he could be sitting in the perfect position. Whereas Demon Buster, he's going to have to make up some ground.
He is. He's going to have to maybe hustle a little bit early. He's going to have to break good from that inside post to get in position. I don't want to see him 5 or 6 back at the quarter pole. I want to see him within a length or two and hopefully just kind of wear him down. You're right. Hickory Hill, the one thing he's been able to do of late is kind of break that bad braking habit. He was getting off slow there for a few races in a row. Looks like he's kind of got that all figured out, and he will definitely force the issue of Grecian Prince.
We'll get to the 9th and final race, a maiden $16,000 event, 5 furlongs on the dirt, originally carded for the turf. Now we have the scratch, the 1 Riley S towards the inside, and the 9 Mesmerize, as well as the 11 Schmiss, a big horse, potentially getting a lot of play here today. Schmiss draws in off the also eligible for the red hot Linda Rice.
Yeah, after this race kind of gets decimated a little bit by some scratches, you're looking
at
in
Linda
we trust.
You're looking at Linda Rice.
We trust. And, yeah, I know this horse tried the turf going long in debut. Turning back, works just kind of okay. But the second start, 38% positive ROI.
They
Gets
win.
a good draw to the outside. Some very questionable speed types in front of Smish.
I keep going back to that maiden claiming starter. I probably maybe maiden 16 going 7/8. It was a first-time starter for Linda.
The horse.
Beautiful pedigree, in for a tag, drew the rail, got left, circled the field, and won by like 2. So you can't discount her at any level here. But other than her, because she figures to take some money, the 5 Gray Veil I thought was an interesting one. Will be a speed play in here, and she drops in class. She started against maiden $40,000 company, now in for the $16,000 tag, and she gets a cutback in distance of 5/8. I mean, maybe she could just steal this thing.
No doubt. Looking at it, Love's Legend, I think, is going to have to be forward towards the outside with Victor. Gray Veil as well. You like to see, I would say another race, but the drop scares me a little bit with Gray Veil. I think Glory Unbound is kind of revamped and ready to go. A better effort. Took a lot of play back in August over a sloppy sealed surface at Laurel. Didn't run a step. Comes back. Hammy, maiden claimer. You've got it. You got to respect him in that kind of a position, because that's a position he thrives.
I actually loved this horse on the turf, but I'm going to stick her into the exacta because he sticks with her here. And a lot of the time when we see Hammy Smith, he runs them and they win. He doesn't scratch out of these types of spots, although he did have really good stats going from dirt to turf. But we'll wait for another day here with the 4 Glory Unbound. But really a wide open field to close things out if Schmiss doesn't show up there on the cutback and the transfer of distances. So we got through that 9 race card, and obviously other news this morning with Always Dreaming and Shimmering Aspen out on the track this morning. We will step aside, and Dave Rodman will be up next with all of those scratches and changes. Best of luck on today's opening card here at Pimlico.
Good luck.